Sweet Baby Inc. exposed. YouTuber uncovers shocking alleged origin story and hidden founder erased from history. Oh shit. A new expose from YouTube channel Gothic Therapy, hosted by Master of the TDS and Writing Raven, has explored across gaming circles, pulling back the curtain on the origin of one of the most controversial narrative consultancies in the industry, Sweet Baby Inc. Well, I've made a few videos on Sweet Baby Inc. in the past. I'm not a big fan of them. So this article immediately intrigued me and I had to dive in. So let's see what actually this is about. Sweet Baby Inc. long positioned as a boutique firm dedicated to uplifting marginalized voices through storytelling, the company now faces devastating allegations that its very foundation is a fabricated cover story and that it may have government roots. Wow. Wow. Who could have guessed? Who could have guessed that the company that's forcing DEI practices into games might have government roots? Interesting. Interesting conspiracy theory there. The video, ominously titled "The End of the Sweet Baby Lie," goes far beyond the typical criticism of DEI influence in gaming. It claims to uncover a buried founder, falsified company records, and what could be deep ties to the Canadian government. If what's alleged in the video is true, Sweet Baby Inc.'s rise in the gaming industry was not organic, but orchestrated. Wow. I mean, this is all alleged, but all of this so far sounds, I mean, it just makes sense, right? If it just makes sense, maybe it's true. You know, the company that's forcing DEI into video games, the company that basically, realistically, what it's doing is inserting black female characters. I mean, let's be honest. That's what they do. That's what their track record is. So people shouldn't be surprised to find out that this is probably being funded by a government that forces these same practices, like the Canadian government. That would be no surprise, but allegedly. So let's keep reading and find out. Cat, get out of the way, cat. Sweet Baby Inc. claims it was founded in 2018 by Kim Blair, Dave Bedard, and Ariadne McGillivray. Okay, I butchered that name or whatever. Three friends with a dream of reforming game narratives. The oh, cat, what are you doing? The press-friendly origin story of Sweet Baby Inc. has been repeatedly in interviews, panels, and keynotes for years. But Gothic Therapy dug into Canadian government filings and discovered that the real origin story begins with someone else entirely. A man named Terrence Jason Huberts. According to Incorporation records, Terrence Jason Huberts was listed on day one as a vice president, director, and shareholder. His name appears as one of the actual founding members of the company in 2018, alongside Kim Blair and Ariadne McGillivray. But there's a twist. Hubert's name was quietly scrubbed from the records a year later in a corporate correction. His shares were retroactively reassigned to Belair, effectively rewriting the past and removing him from history. Bedard was only brought into the company in 2020 as COO, years after the company's incorporation, yet he has frequently been referred to as a co-founder. This timeline simply doesn't add up, and that's just the beginning. Okay, so why did they bury this dude? The Montreal Condo and the Dead Shell Company. On May 21st, 2018, from a single Montreal condo unit, 1414 Rue Chomedy, Apartment 101, two companies were incorporated by Terrence Jason Huberts. One was a numbered company, 107923557 Canada Inc., okay, which quietly dissolved in 2021. The other, Sweet Baby Inc. Same man, same condo, same day. One was discarded. The other grew into a media darling, helping shape AAA games under the guise of narrative justice. Oh my gosh. I mean, I believe this all. I mean, you might be reading this and be like, it's just alleged conspiracy theory. Surely the Canadian government isn't forcing propaganda and DEI into video games. No, that's almost certainly what was happening. And it seems like now they're finally getting to the bottom of it. But, yeah, let's keep going. Yet the man who started it all completely gone. No website mention, no interviews, no social presence, no credit. Gothic Therapy calls it what it appears to be: erasure. The Vanishing Man. The deeper Gothic Therapy dug into Terrence Jason Huberts, the stranger things became. There's no LinkedIn, no public records, no explanation for why a co-founder would be wiped from existence. But then came a potential clue. In the late 1980s, a man named Terry Huberts served as a member of British Columbia's Legislative Assembly and Minister of Parks. In his sparse interviews from the time, he publicly mentioned having a son named Jason. Okay. That name match isn't trivial, neither is what came next. Gothic Therapy uncovered that one of Terrence Jason Hubert's companies listed a business address at 475 Elgin Street in Ottawa, while Terry Huberts, years later, operated a veterinary clinic at 475 Broadmead Village, Victoria. Two entirely different cities, but the same number 475. According to the channel, the statistical odds of these overlapping names, family connections, and address numbers aligning by pure coincidence is 1 in a million. 100 million. Okay. I mean, it's weird, but I feel like it's not 1 in 100 million, but all right, let's see where they're going with this. The framework that changes everything. God, I hate this feature so much. What, I don't know. I think it's just Kim Belair. She brings out the chud rage in me. The framework that changes everything. In 1989, as Minister of Parks, Terry Huberts authored a government policy framework that outlined how private contractors could be embedded within public systems, quietly, efficiently, and without public scrutiny. Wow, well, this line right here, this sounds a lot like Sweet Baby Inc. It's almost like this was the prototype, but it was actually successful. Way more successful than they anticipated. Way more influential than maybe they anticipated. So hey, I mean, their framework, it turned out to work. Sweet Baby Inc., they dug their claws in deep and they did a lot, what I would say a lot of damage, but now they're being outed. They've been being outed for a while now, but it keeps getting worse. But yeah, that's crazy. This is exactly what they did. Private contractor that they embed in public systems so they can, behind the scenes, kind of force behaviors, right? Move the needle in one direction. They weren't very subtle about it, but I guess they were. I mean, just by the virtue of being a private contractor, it took a while for people to get to the bottom of what was happening. I mean, hell, before the whole Steam controversy with Sweet Baby Inc., Sweet Baby Inc. detected, you probably didn't even know they existed. I didn't even know they existed. But anyways, let's continue with the article. If Terrence Jason Huberts is the same man or the son of that man, then Gothic Therapy alleges Sweet Baby Inc. may have been structured from the beginning to operate similarly as an embedded narrative force within gaming companies. Exactly what I'm saying. A consultancy with a mission not just to tell stories, but to control them. Exactly, to force behaviors, to move the needle, right? We've heard this. We've heard them say this. We must force behaviors. That's what the money said, right? So that's what's happening. If this is the same man, then Sweet Baby Inc. wasn't built to tell stories, Master of the TDS said in the video. It was created by the Canadian government from day one, structured by an insider disguised as a consultancy used to control the narrative. Shit is getting real. Sweet Baby Inc. may actually be a little finger of the Canadian government used to basically subtly push propaganda in video games. It seems like that's what's happening. It seems like that's what happened. But I want to see more proof. The government response that raises more questions. Following the video's release, Gothic Therapy sent a formal request to the British Columbia Legislative Assembly asking for Terry Hubert's full legal name. The response? They couldn't confirm it. Really? Thank you for your question below regarding former member of Legislative Assembly Terry Huberts. Because candidates are not required to use their legal names on ballots or in parliamentary documents, the Assembly could neither confirm nor deny whether Terry Huberts was short for Terrence Jason Huberts. In the words of Gothic Therapy, the truth was never meant to be found, but we found it anyway. Okay. So he didn't use his full name. The alias that wasn't supposed to be found. Even more chilling, Gothic Therapy discovered that Sweet Baby Inc. registered a second business alias, Design Sweet Baby, on the exact same day as the original filing. It has no public use, no branding, and no clear purpose. The theory, it was a lifeboat identity, a backup plan in case the first brand faced collapse. Well, I want to say that collapse is happening right now. So I don't think they're going to be able to fall back on Design Sweet Baby at this point. But realistically, that was, if this was required, if this fallback was required for them, they would have pulled the switch a long time ago. Because Sweet Baby Inc. took off. It did what they set out to do. So yeah, they didn't need they didn't need to pull the emergency switch there. What is the true origin of Sweet Baby Inc.? If what Gothic Therapy revealed is accurate, Sweet Baby Inc. is not just grassroots, justice-driven narrative firm it claims to be. It's a company with a falsified origin, a buried founder, and possible ties to the Canadian government operations. The erasure of Terrence Jason Hubers, the rewriting of company filings, and the statistical overlap with the government official, the second secret alias, all of it paints a potential picture, not of idealism, but of orchestration. I mean, again, you don't have to prove this to me, because I just kind of believe this in my heart. I feel like this is what's happening behind the scenes. I feel like something like Sweet Baby Inc. has to be artificial, that it has to be funded behind the scenes, that it has to be being astroturfed by some government. It feels like that to me. And that's kind of how I felt about a lot of this, like, DEI shit being forced in games. I usually just immediately assume, oh, who's paying them? You know, who's investing for this, right? Because someone behind the scenes is pushing for this behavior. Because again, that's what the money wants to happen. Like, this is what BlackRock says. Like, this is not a secret. They say this publicly, that they need to force behaviors, you know? So of course, if they have the money, they're going to spend the money to try to make that happen. That's just the reality. These people, when they get all this money, they want to use it to exert influence on the world. It's not that hard to understand. So yeah, it seems like this is just another case of that. People have speculated that Sweet Baby Inc. might be receiving government funding. Master of the TDS said, but if this connection is real, then the company wasn't just funded by the Canadian government. It was built by a former government official from the very beginning. And when that truth threatened the image, they rewrote it. Not because it didn't matter, Writing Raven added, but because it mattered too much to let you see. So that's why he changed his name. They didn't want it to be tied to the government official. Interesting. But it almost certainly was. Even if it turns out that, oh, this guy's the wrong guy, and it was just a coincidence, and the 1 in 100 million was actually just a 1 in 100 million, this company was still probably being astroturfed by some government somewhere. Even if it wasn't the Canadian government. But it looks like it probably is. If gaming companies are still working with Sweet Baby Inc., they might want to ask who really founded this company. What's the origin of Sweet Baby Inc.? And what exactly are you letting them write? And yeah, what is their agenda? What are their ideals? What is their culture? What is their mission? We all know what their mission is. Whatever they say, we know that their mission is to make as many black female protagonists in video games as possible, because that's all they do. Whenever they're assigned to a project, that's all that happens, right? It's a pattern. It's not difficult to see. It's kind of funny, but let's see. What do people have to say about this? A Canadian psyop. Man, just when you when you didn't think they could get any worse. Most evils come from the government. This goes double for the Canadian government. Oh, sorry, Canadian viewers. You're getting caught in the crossfires, but I mean, after your most recent election, you can't really blame us. You guys are fucked. But yeah, this is interesting. Honestly, it's not surprising, because I always kind of suspected that they're being funded by some government somewhere, because I mean, that's what they are. They're a propaganda firm, whatever you want to call them. Their purpose, like I said, is to take white characters in video games and make them black females. That's literally their track record. That is what they've done. So they're just going to keep doing it. And again, that's a way for them to force behaviors, right? It's a way to get people to, be more open, more diverse, more understanding. When in reality, what's happening is they're taking a hobby that is primarily men, gaming, and they are taking what a male gamer would want, taking that out, and then putting in what a black female gamer would want. But the reason why the games they're associated with always bomb is because there just aren't that many black female gamers. Sorry, that's kind of a tangent, but I just think it's funny. I don't like Sweet Baby Inc. I hate everything they stand for. They're probably being funded by the Canadian government from the looks of it after reading this article, which doesn't even surprise me, but it just adds fuel to the pyre that is burning Sweet Baby Inc. So if you like this video, like it. If you didn't like it, dislike. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to my channel. I'm a pretty new channel, so subscriptions do go a really long way. And thanks for watching. Peace.